Hey guys, welcome back to another long overdue episode of GOTR, Google Trends Investing, with myself, Nolan Antonucci from the Dumb Money Discord group. And I wanted to first start off by a big thank you. So since I've last posted, I did eclipse the 1,000 mark. I know the team Bullish, the one that's doing the video editing and adding the explosions, that helps Chris, Dave, and Jordan kind of cut some of their videos up into smaller digestible pieces for the Dumb Money channel. They posted my interview and cut that up. And so I have another video where I said thank you earlier in the month, and I didn't end up posting it. So I had thoughts about Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I actually recorded several versions of that one, and it was cut off at the 10-minute mark because the software I'm using is Bandicam, and the free version stopped at 10 minutes. I was trying to use that as a way to keep my videos short, but I've realized that I'm probably going to be, some of these videos are going to be longer than 10 minutes. I think this will probably be one of them. I've tried recording this a few times, and they've all been much longer than 10 minutes, but I'm going to try to keep it succinct here for you. But again, a big thank you. If you want to give me a like and a subscribe, that's great. Again, my number one goal is not growing this channel. It's more kind of holding myself accountable. But if you find this interesting and you want to make sure you're seeing more of it in your feed, please give me that like and the subscribe. I'm going to try to continue to provide value. And again, I'm really happy to have that discourse. So on Discord, so hopping over there, I was asked by a member, and again, I'm really active in this e-commerce sub-channel there. So is it a good entry for BigCommerce? 65 support. So I'm not a technical analysis trader. I've tried to learn a few things. I actually had an interesting video chat with someone. Again, I've been setting up little one-off videos and chatting about things, and the guy's been doing professional technical analysis trading. He's trying to layer in other pieces of data into what he's doing, and I'm trying to do the same thing in reverse. So we had a really interesting conversation. But again, I'm not a technical analysis trader, and I'm really trying to just determine, does the information I have on the social arbitrage data, so Google Trends being the main source that I'm relying on, not the only source, but the main source, does that give me an edge in proving out a thesis, an investing thesis? And my investing thesis on Shopify is that it will become the dominant e-commerce platform globally. So not just in the US, not just in Canada or Shopify's from, but they will do this across the globe. China, who knows, on the Great Firewall there, but they will be the dominant e-commerce platform. And I think they've created a sizable gap, and I have conviction that 2020 and the shelter-in-place environment has only given them a longer lead. So other e-commerce platforms things gained some momentum, but not as much momentum as I think Shopify did. I had high conviction. Me being at this company for 7 years, I could see my clients leaving their e-commerce platforms and going to Shopify at a greater rate than they were going to Magento, WooCommerce, or Yahoo sites, or and actually, interestingly enough, that as I want to get to here, is this news on Amazon and Shopify in the last month, is that there's a Project Santos that Jeff Bezos himself is involved in to get involved in making a more direct competitor to Shopify, which is very interesting because they used to have one and then they killed it, and they told people to maybe go to Shopify. So this happened. I mean, I had clients on this Amazon web stores, and they left that and went to NetSuite. They went all everywhere else, and so they've already kind of killed this before, and now they might want to revisit it. It's a really interesting move, and but I still have some reasons as to why I'm one of my 4 biggest positions is still Shopify and Amazon together. It's kind of a bit of a hedge position there, but so let's go into looking at the e-commerce platform side, and then we'll go into the e-commerce marketplace side. But you see BigCommerce login, Magento login, e-commerce platform. So I'm always at my job, I'm talking about the Kleenex test. So for Kleenex to tissues, they want to be searched. Kleenex wants to be searched more often than the word tissues. So you kind of address your that's almost an addressable market within a search category. So e-commerce platform being kind of the addressable market, which they're reaching for. This kind of gives you a measurement of how much was there just like you're also seeking alpha. So you're trying to look for, how do I get an edge above the industry in which I'm at? And it's really clear that e-commerce platforms saw a lift from COVID. So you can see the e-commerce platforms jump. So kind of expected that e-commerce sellers saw some bit of a lift following this, especially if you sell food. So don't get complacent. If you saw some gains, you might be actually lost ground to your competitors. But I won't make this into a e-commerce sales pitch, but you were expecting to see growth this year, and hopefully you've done things to try to get an edge above your competitors. So I do see of late BigCommerce in blue has exceeded the red of Magento login. So Magento was leading back in 2016, and now I'm seeing globally that BigCommerce has. So I think it's great that they've leapfrogged Magento. And also Magento, I don't know if I said it here, owned by Adobe, WooCommerce associated with I'm blanking. What did I say? It's owned by the WordPress sites. Anyhow, staying on track here. So e-commerce platforms, there was expected growth there. And I put Big Cartel. There's really only those are the main competitors, but I'm going to change that one to Shopify in a second. But I wanted a dramatic effect here on the second one. So when I remove the e-commerce platform, you can see globally, BigCommerce on the last 12 months has some pretty important countries that they are now better than when I take Shopify out of the equation. But I think this next one I add Shopify back in there, and you can see it's a very green globe on 5-year views. And it's even more so, I think one of these next ones I have it on a more narrow window of the last 30 days. So Shopify, and I just used the word Shopify, where again, I think it doesn't matter as much for people searching Shopify stock in Brazil or Russia. But so I feel, again, removing the word Shopify in stock and Shopify ticker. But anyhow, so Shopify, I see them gaining, but I also see this as an opportunity. So now I want to see these countries that have not turned green. What's their individual their growth? So again, here's the 10 biggest countries. Just the 10 biggest countries. So yes, it's U.S. and China, Japan, Germany, India, UK, France, Italy, Brazil, and Canada. So I spot checked a few of these ones here. So the first one I have, I guess it's a worldwide one. So maybe an extra tab. Let's delete that in case I record this video again. There we go. So this is the worldwide view. All right, so here's Russia. So Russia, WooCommerce. You can see there's been of late some more green poking its head above purple. So even in the past 5 years, I think we're seeing more greens. I think there's a chance, or I think you'll see Russia the next year maybe see more green than purple. So I think Russia will become a Shopify country. India, we've seen of late become a Shopify. I guess it's still, the word e-commerce is more, but it's definitely overtaken Magento, which it had a big gain. So Adobe and Magento, Adobe bought them at $3.3 million a few years, $3.3 billion. So they kind of bought an asset that they've got a lot of fragmentation, and it's caused a lot of headaches for our clients when they've been updating their things. So Magento is a more developer-intensive platform, and Shopify is one that I was listening to an interview with Toby, the CEO of Shopify. He's trying to create, how is it easier to start a business? And that's kind of what his thought was. How do I make it easier to start a business? And he's talked about how when he was pitching venture capitalists, that they thought there's only 45,000 sites out there the market's not big enough. The total addressable market is not big enough. And he said that he ends up looking back at it, it's because it was so hard to create an e-commerce site. And now it's become so easy. So the market is much bigger, and I think it's global e-commerce is what they're going after. And the upside of that gives me conviction to still have this being one of my largest positions. But hopping over another one here, Japan in green, tremendous growth over the last few years here. And this this is still 2020 on the 5 years that this has taken off for them. So lots of countries are becoming Shopify countries, and I think you're going to see this continue. And I think it's going to, these numbers are going to, there'll probably be dips. I'm sure that there will be once the shelter in place. But I'm holding on to my Peloton. I'm holding on to my Square, my Cash App. A number of these ones, I think the future has been brought to them. I'm holding on to them because I'm looking at this as my social arbitrage data to feel confident that the future has been pulled into the now. So another tool that I've been using that I don't see the dumb money guys talk about, and I'll probably do a whole video on it, but it's really early stage for me to be really using it to kind of increase the conviction on my positions. But there's a tool called BuiltWith that looks at the source code of backend sites, and it says, like, where's the word Google Analytics, or where's the word Shopify, and it can determine what e-commerce sites are on there. And there's actually a free plugin that they use, and I have it, so for my clients I can quickly see, are they on Magento, are they on Shopify, and I can spot that. Are they using Klaviyo as their email provider? So Klaviyo being an e-commerce email provider. But yeah, so you can dive in there and get an understanding as to what's going on. And Shopify is only 19%. So I think there is a lot of growing for Shopify to continue to do. And toggling forward here, so they actually give you the usage of, so here's Shopify, the top million or top 10K. Let me put back in the other ones there. So top million, they've been increasing their number of the top million. It's saying they have 18,000 of the top million websites, not just e-commerce sites. You can kind of toggle that one off. Of the top 10,000 is growing up. It shows a little dip there, but we had a number of clients come on selling hand sanitizer and PPE that did it for a time and then closed their sites. I'm not too scared about that. Maybe that'll shake the market a little bit, but I think that'd be a buying opportunity. And then of the top 10,000 sites, you can see as well, a dip has happened a bit, but I still feel very confident that, I mean, this is 6/20, so June 20. I feel very confident that this number will be higher in a year from now, and I think it'll be more like this trajectory that will continue on up there, but we'll see how that plays out. You can see actually what individual websites have. So here's the Magento's view. It's some pretty cool tools there. There's a free version and a paid version. But you can see Magento, when I do the same type of thing, their numbers are flattening, and they have been really since 2015. So again, I'm doing this in relation, I'm probably showing this for BigCommerce, but you can check it out yourself. But a tool that, it's actually a coworker of mine. He heads our Amazon service and also some of our business insights tool. He works with our developers on that end. His name's Mike Freaky, and he actually has already recorded a video on Wish, a platform. So I'm going to post his video in the next week here as well. But we see Amazon tracking. So he made this tool in Excel, very easy to be able to compare year-over-year numbers. So somebody in the Discord showed me how to do this. But it was kind of still a pain to do it one by one. He created an Excel tool where you pick your term, pick your whatever window of time you want to compare year over year, and it's really easy to populate it. So we see here Amazon tracking compared to last year in red. I mean, if this is December 23rd, I mean, it's incredible. 3 times the volume for Amazon tracking on the entirety there, and you can see of the entirety since September, it's been 38 versus 20, so double, but there's certain periods where it's triple. I think they had a blowout quarter. You want to compare this to other players here. So Chewy looking relatively flat year over year. I still have a big Chewy position. I like the secular trend of search the word. It's the same thing with that BarkBox trade of puppy food or buy a puppy or puppy breeders. I mean, there's a lot more puppies in the world. Hopefully they're going to go to happy homes. But Wayfair tracking actually had a pretty good quarter as well, going back to September. I looked at this narrower, and it got me a little concerned, but they didn't have as great of a year on year for Christmas. But they sell furniture. The big month for them is January, so I'm keeping an eye on them. But similar to Meet Kevin, he's scaling his Etsy position more so than his Wayfair position, and this one has me kind of salivating as an investor of how much Etsy tracking, and this maybe is people not getting their orders or worried they're going to get their orders. So maybe take that with a grain of salt. But I mean, we are seeing certain days here versus the year before in red. So let's just window this one, 80% versus 26%. So I think it's quite possible we're seeing 3x the Etsy sales according to this tracking. Is again some number that correlates with revenue. So that's all I'm trying to do here with Google Trends, is find a correlation between something that's, again, we know the revenue number will move the stock price up or down. Can I use Google Trends to get an insight to that number? And that's what I'm attempting to do here. So the number that I'm most curious about when the Amazon reports come out is advertising sales. So a tool, he's a YouTuber, Galileo at Hyperchange, who's created a tool, Hypercharts, with his developer here, where they piece out the different revenue segments within it. It's kind of sounds like a pretty manual process of how they do it, but it's pretty cool. So you can see, again, if you look at if you're just looking at revenue, and I use like macro trends, the number of tools that shows you the revenue per quarter, but really you want to look into there to see not all revenue is equal revenue. You want to understand what's different about it. And you can see usually there's these Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and it jumps. Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and it jumps. Obviously, this has been a very strange year where it's Q1 kind of got cut off because of there being end of March, and we'll kind of shut down. Then they had a very good Q2, and then they've seen a very good Q3, and we'll be very curious if this jump from Q3 to Q4 jumps up like that. And I think the way I want to do this is, so physical stores is, we'll add them in individually here, but you can see here, so again, this is all Amazon data, making sure I'm clear on that, but there had been the pullback in the Amazon physical, this is Whole Foods primarily. So their store data went down, not surprising. You can see their subscription, so their Prime memberships has been a linear thing, which I continue even a little bit bumping up, so I'm not surprised by that. If we add AWS, also very linear. I know they have Zoom as a customer, a number of, I think maybe Netflix as a customer, so, but I expect this to continue to be linear. So, but let's look at the ones that I'm expecting to be exponential. So online stores, and maybe Mike can correct me, is my understanding it's the vendor sellers. So these are people that Amazon has an agreement to buy the products from an individual seller and sell it themselves, and they can sell it at whatever price they want to. Well, usually in the agreement they'll say it's to not be below this number, but I have plenty of clients where Amazon just started selling products at a lower price than they kind of agreed upon, and that creates some issues when you're trying to sell it direct on your website. But so that is them selling vendor. Third-party sellers is the actual true marketplace where you show up there and start to sell your products. and then we see other revenue, which is advertising. And I think this is going to be very interesting, where this pocket is already bigger than Q4. So not any times when you're looking at these areas was Q3 bigger than the previous Q4. And we've already eclipsed that this year. I think there's some things that the market has yet to appreciate about Amazon. So let's, again, look a little individual, I guess. So here is the vendor seller stuff up on that. Let's look at the sellers central third party, even more up. And then the one I'm most interested in as an e-commerce advertising professional is how much e-commerce ad revenue they've gained. And I think they were doing things. So we have a service at our agency about conversion consulting, where we're trying to figure out what's a better navigation layout, what's a better checkout process, what are better related items to improve your conversion rate. I feel pretty confident that Amazon did things to de-emphasize their conversion rate. They had expected delivery times that were longer than they were. That was in March and April and probably some parts of May. So I think there were certain things they were doing this to keep the revenue down. And I think you saw Q3 being one they kind of went all for it. And I feel pretty confident they went all in on Q4. And I think you're going to see some blowout numbers. So what I'm going to be seeing is if this Q3 base, the amount that it went from 3.5 up to 4.7, so 25, 30%, whatever that percentage increase is, are we going to see that percentage increase there for advertising? And this is, I think they claim it's 70, 80% margin. This is eventually going to be closer to 100% margin. I mean, this is just free money for them. $3.4 billion, that I'm sure will be over $6.5 billion. That will continue to climb for years and years to come. And this is why I'm in my Amazon position. So we'll see if these load up for me there. I'm not going to retake this video again, but I was going to show some examples of the Amazon advertising that you can see on the site. So again, I feel, let's see if this loads, but I guess while that's loading, I'm looking at my notes here, things that I wanted to hit on. Okay, so just to give a breakdown of where you're clicking on ads and you don't even know it on Amazon. So here's just a regular product page. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of workout bands and things like that. There's ads all over the place, which are kind of obvious ads. Where the ads are less obvious are the first layer of related products. I guess this is the frequently bought, that's organic, but related products are all ads. These are all ads, and they'll probably make 30, I mean, in a high margin, things like elastic band, they'll probably make close to $1 a click on some of these. So it's just free money going into Jeff Bezos's pocket. And then let's take a look at it. Okay, I wanted to show the mobile SERPs. Let's just do a search result page. Let this load for a second. So there's the ads on the product page. There's also the ads that are on the top. So all four of these are ads. Prime, and not Prime, but free delivery, and then Prime. So people don't even know these are ads. Maybe some people are aware, but lots of ads. These used to be called headline search, sponsored brand ads at the top there. And then if we do inspecting this to view it on mobile, which most of their traffic, they don't divulge how much is in an app or on mobile, but Amazon purchases are done on mobile. So let's let this load here. And you can see, so they have the ad at the top, ad, and then there's that. So there's two ads, then they have organic, and then there's a video ads, which we've seen increasing performance from our clients that have taken the time to create a video like that. And then you see another ad. I mean, these sponsored, keep an eye on Amazon how often you see the word sponsored. And I think they've got lots of dials they can crank, and compound this at 30 or 40% a year, or at least 25% a year for years and years to come as they're expanding globally, as they're expanding with people buying more often, people spending more time on Amazon. Lots of things that are going in their direction. So again, I'll be curious of what Amazon's planning to do in terms of this Project Santos. I'll continue to monitor it closely. I'll be continuing to monitor the adoption of it. But I think, again, there is tremendous, again, the momentum that Shopify has is great. Again, I haven't been really scaling into that position, but I haven't been selling a share. And I feel really confident that if there's any shakeups where there's a big pullback, I'll be probably adding to my position. But again, in 2020, I feel more confident that Amazon has a lead as an e-commerce marketplace, and I have even more conviction that Shopify, whatever the odds were of them becoming the global e-commerce platform, that confidence is higher. And I don't know if the market, I mean, the price is definitely, there's a lot of growth baked into there, so you can go watch somebody doing a fundamental value of Shopify, and they'll laugh at it. Anyway, if you do a search, you might find me in a comment section on YouTube getting into it with a guy about Shopify. But again, I feel very confident about it, and it's a position that I hold, and I'm very excited about the next year and the next decade ahead. Any questions about that, again, feel free to reach out to me. If you sell on e-commerce, let me know. I'd be curious to hear about your business. I'm hoping at some point to get into the investing side from the venture side to maybe get into buying and being involved in as an active investor in e-commerce sites. So that's something I hope to do at some point. So I want this to be a particularly good video, but I'm really excited and eager about it. I'm definitely an e-commerce nerd when it comes to this stuff. But so any questions, feel free to reach out to me. But don't forget, let the trend be your friend. I'm sure I forgot some other stuff there. Check out Tevis's channel. His is really great too. And then Alex will give those links to those other YouTubers that have come out of the Discord. But some awesome stuff. I'm really proud to be a part of this community. I'm really excited about what the year is to come. And yeah, let the trend be your friend. I said it twice, but have a great year, guys. See you.